Listen carefully. This is for you. There's a version of you that can no longer come with you, not in the physical sense, but in the mental, emotional, and spiritual sense. This version clings to comfort. It hides from truth. It resists change and quietly sabotages the future you could have. If you don't let go of this version, it will quietly destroy your potential. The greatest tragedy isn't failure. It's staying the same. It's settling for almost. It's being content with average when exceptional is within reach. Growth isn't luck. It isn't random. Growth is a responsibility, one that begins when you stop waiting for the right moment and start creating it. You must choose to outgrow your past self, the one built for survival, the one shaped by fear, the one that made sense in your past, but has no place in your future. Dreaming of a better life is not enough. You must become the version of you who can live it. And that becoming, it's not gentle, it's uncomfortable. It demands sacrifice. It demands consistency. It demands a daily battle with your comfort zone. The version of you that's distracted, uncertain, and playing small, he must be dismantled. His habits examined, his excuses burned, his story rewritten. If you want to transform your life, you must release the identity that clings to who you used to be. This process won't always feel like growth. It will feel like pain. But that pain, that's the sound of limitation breaking. That's your old self resisting its end. Let it resist. Let it burn. Let it go. Because the higher version of you, the focused, disciplined, powerful one, is already within. He's watching, waiting, ready to take over the moment you stop nurturing the weaker version you've outgrown. The old you hits snooze. The new you owns the morning. The old you avoids responsibility. The new you steps toward it. The old you numbs discomfort. The new you trains through it. You can't step into your future while dragging the weight of your past. You have to bury that version. And not just once, every single day. Every time you choose discipline over distraction. Every time you show up without applause. Every time you act with intention instead of impulse. You are burying your past self and making room for your future. Growth lives in the tension between who you are and who you're becoming. Stop chasing ease. Ease won't take you where you want to go. Ask instead for truth, for pressure, for the challenge that shapes character. Here's what most people never realize. Your future self, the one with strength, purpose, peace, is already inside you. But he's buried beneath your excuses, suffocating under your habits, drowning in your distractions. And only you can set him free. Not with talk, not with dreams, but with daily intentional action. You cannot rise while staying loyal to the version of you that's holding you back. That loyalty must be broken. Yes, betray the version of you who has betrayed your potential for far too long. If you want to rise, start now. You must draw a line, not against the world, against your lower nature. The habits that keep you small, the excuses that feel safe, the patterns that quietly pull you backward, they must become unacceptable. You're not here to fix the old version of yourself. That version wasn't built for where you're headed. He was built to survive, not to rise. He's not meant to be improved. He's meant to be replaced. And not with luck, not with vague hope, but with deliberate, disciplined growth. This isn't about inspiration. This is about what's required. Mediocrity has gravity. If you don't resist it with full force, it will pull you right back into comfort, into hesitation, into the life you know you've outgrown. Real change has a cost. It will demand your comfort, your ego, your ease. But staying the same, that costs everything. Your peace, your purpose, your potential. So stop waiting for the right moment. There isn't one. The right time is the one you choose. Choose now. Decide that your old self no longer has a seat at the table. Decide that your life will no longer be ruled by moods and feelings, but by decisions and actions. Growth doesn't care how you feel. It responds to action. Always. You will feel tired. Keep moving. You will feel fear. Lean in. You will feel doubt. Act anyway. Because fear doesn't fade with time. It shrinks when you rise. Doubt doesn't disappear. It dies in progress. And the old version of you? He fades when you stop feeding him comfort and start feeding yourself challenge. That version of you was created by accident. Habits you didn't question. Beliefs you never chose. Wounds you never faced. But the new you, he will be built by design. He won't come from comfort. He'll be forged in discomfort, shaped in silence, sharpened in solitude. And one day, he will rise. Not because of talent, not because of luck, but because you were willing to do the hard things, willing to be misunderstood, willing to demand more from yourself than anyone else ever did. That's what separates the few from the many. They outgrow their past. They outlast their weakness. They outdiscipline their distractions. They become unrecognizable to who they once were. This is not reinvention. This is resurrection. And it starts with a decision. I will no longer live inside the shell of who I used to be. Because every time you hesitate, every time you shrink back, the old you wins. And he's had the spotlight long enough. You don't need to declare war on yourself. But you do need to grow beyond who you've been. Your old habits can't stay comfortable. Your old excuses can't remain acceptable. Your patterns, if they've held you back, can't be tolerated. You don't need to improve the past version of yourself. He wasn't built for the future you're stepping into. It's not about saving him. It's about becoming someone new. Not by waiting on luck, not by hoping it gets easier, but through deliberate, disciplined, committed growth. This isn't about hype. It's about necessity. Because mediocrity has a pull, and if you don't push against it, it will pull you back. Real change will cost you. It'll cost comfort. It'll cost pride. It'll cost your tendency to wait. But staying the same, that'll cost you everything. Your peace, your potential, your purpose. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. The right time is the one you choose, and that choice is now. Decide that your limitations no longer run the show. Decide that how you feel will not overrule what you've committed to. Because growth doesn't care about your mood, it responds to action. Yes, you'll feel tired. Keep going. Yes, you'll feel fear. Keep moving. Yes, you'll doubt. Act anyway. Fear fades when you outgrow it. Doubt dies when you keep building. The old you? He was shaped by accident, by habits you didn't question, beliefs you absorbed, and wounds you never named. But the new you? He'll be built by design, in discomfort, in discipline, in moments no one sees. He won't be the product of chance, but of choice. And he'll rise, not because it was easy, but because you were willing to do hard things, willing to be misunderstood, willing to demand more from yourself than anyone else ever did. That's the path of every person who outgrows their limits. They outlast the noise. They outwork the doubt. They become someone unrecognizable, not to impress, but because they know who they're meant to be. This isn't reinvention, it's resurrection. And it starts with this: I will no longer live in the shadow of who I used to be. Because every day you delay, the old you gets stronger. And that stops now. You don't need to declare war on yourself, but you do need to grow beyond who you've been. Your old habits, they can't stay comfortable. Your excuses, they don't get to lead anymore. And your patterns, if they've held you back, they don't belong in your future. You're not here to improve the past version of yourself. That version was built for survival, not evolution. He's not the problem, but he's not the solution either. This next level of your life won't come from hoping, won't come from wishing. It'll come from becoming, intentionally, relentlessly, quietly if you have to. This isn't about motivation, it's about maturity. Because comfort has a cost. And if you don't choose growth, you're choosing regret. Real change, it will demand more from you than you think you have, and then ask for more. It'll stretch you, break you open, but it won't break you down, unless you quit. Shift in tone, sharper, more intense. So no more waiting, no more blaming, no more stories about who you used to be. That version doesn't get to dictate who you are now. You will feel tired. Keep going. You will feel fear. Walk forward. You will feel doubt. Do it anyway. Because greatness isn't built in the spotlight. It's forged in the dark. When nobody claps, when nobody sees, and you decide to show up anyway. You don't owe the old you anything, except proof that you were always more than him. So don't fight yourself. Outgrow yourself. Outlast your fear. Outbuild your doubt. And when the world finally meets the man you're becoming, they won't recognize him, but you will, because you built him. What the world rarely tells you is this: change is inevitable. But growth? That's a choice. Staying the same might feel safe, but often it's just pain in disguise. The man who avoids growth isn't avoiding discomfort. He's just choosing a slower, quieter version of it. Stagnation wears the mask of comfort until one day you wake up surrounded by mediocrity, looking back on all the things you could have been. That's why I say this with urgency. Be intentional about your evolution. Don't just outgrow your old self. Replace him. Raise your standards so high that the person you used to be simply can't keep up. Because becoming the next version of you isn't always graceful. It's rarely easy. It takes honesty. It takes effort. And yes, it takes discomfort. But that's the cost of real transformation. That means no more negotiating with your old patterns. No more entertaining doubt. No more glamorizing distractions or making excuses for why you're not moving forward. You are either progressing or standing still. You're either leading yourself with clarity or being led by old habits that no longer serve you. And if you want freedom, real, lasting freedom, it won't come from comfort. It comes from discipline. It comes from aligning your actions with your vision. It comes from living in a way that honors the future you're building. In your new environment, your old identity won't fit. It won't survive. And that's the point. Let it go. The version of you that waited for the right moment, that played small, that repeated the same year over and over and called it progress. That version of you was just a placeholder. Now it's time to lead, to take responsibility, to act with purpose, and to evolve without waiting for approval. You don't need motivation. You need standards. Because a person with standards moves with consistency. They don't ask, "Do I feel like it?" They ask, "Does this align with the person I'm becoming?" If the answer is yes, it stays. If it doesn't, it goes. That's how growth happens, by letting go of what no longer belongs and creating space for what does. In that space, a stronger, clearer, more capable version of you will emerge. Not just more powerful, but unshakable. Because when you shed excuses, outdated beliefs, and small thinking, what remains is someone built for excellence. You don't hope for success. You live in a way that produces it, by design, not chance. And that expectation? It transforms everything. Your posture, your words, your presence. People will feel it. They might not know exactly what changed, but they'll know you have. Because you no longer carry the weight of who you used to be. You walk forward with the certainty of who you've chosen to become. And when you speak to life, you don't do it like a passenger. You do it like a builder. You say, "This is my standard. This is my path. This is my legacy." And anything that doesn't align with that, whether a habit, a relationship, or a belief, has no place in your future. Yes, there will be grief in this process. Grief for the person you used to be, the one who was liked, accepted, predictable. But you have to let him go quickly, because while he was comfortable, he was also keeping you small. And you weren't made for small. You were made to carry a deeper fire, to shape your future with discipline, vision, and determination. You were made to lead yourself with purpose, like a strategist guiding every step with focus, presence, and a quiet, steady resolve to eliminate anything that threatens your mission. And what is that mission? To become the man no one expected, especially the version of you that once doubted. This isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving your highest self right. The one watching from within, urging you forward. Don't quit. Don't drift. Don't settle. Because that part of you knows what's at stake. It knows what happens if you ease up, give in, or forget why you started. The old you wins. And if he wins, you lose everything you've been building. That's the real fight. And that's why you must go further than ever before. Push through fatigue with intention. Rise through pain with clarity. Move through fear with faith. Not just spiritual faith, but strategic faith. The belief that consistent effort, discipline, and the courage to let go of what no longer fits will eventually bring your vision to life. It won't come easy. It won't be handed to you. But if you keep showing up, keep showing strength, keep saying no to what pulls you backwards, then transformation isn't just possible. It's inevitable. You become the man who stopped waiting and started building. The man who faced his own excuses and stood taller because of it. The man who learned to lead his time, his thoughts, his habits, until growth was no longer a wish, but a natural outcome. Real change isn't a single moment. It's 1,000 small moments where you chose progress over comfort, discipline over distraction, and action over avoidance. And over time, that choice becomes your identity. So don't stop now. Not when you're this close. Because the closer you get, the louder the resistance becomes. Your past self will fight to stay alive. Your doubts will rise. But that's not a warning sign. That's confirmation. That's proof the shift is happening. Just one more hour of effort. One more choice to stay aligned when no one's watching. One more moment of integrity. And the old version of you fades. You won't replace him with someone who has all the answers. You'll replace him with someone who keeps asking better questions. Someone who refuses to stop growing. That version of you, he's steady. He's focused. He's unstoppable. And now, as you keep going, understand this. There is no finish line. There is no final form. Growth isn't a phase. It's a lifestyle. A daily shedding of what no longer serves. A daily rise into who you're meant to be. You're not here to repeat or recycle the past. You're here to redefine it. To make a vow, not emotional, but intentional. That you'll never again settle for a shadow of your potential. That vow is woven into your habits, your calendar, your mindset. And what it gives back to you is peace, power, and presence. You'll speak with clarity, walk with purpose, lead with quiet strength. Because you didn't inherit this growth. You earned it in the quiet hours, in the struggle, in the discipline. And now, you don't just do more. You are more. You don't chase success. You carry it with you. Because you've become the kind of man who lives it.